Okay, so welcome back. This is part two of the convex mirror example. In the first part, we just made the rays reflecting off of our convex mirror, and we highlighted that it's just broken down into two parts, like our concave example, which is parallel, focal point, parallel, parallèle foyer, foyer parallèle. I mentioned before that this acronym works the same in French and English, and I really like that. Okay, so part two, we're going to make our image. So using these rays, usually with the concave examples, and for any example where you have converging rays in a ray diagram, it's pretty simple. It's done already for you. However, these rays are not converging, and we can see that. So what we have to do is actually make them converge by extending them into the virtual world, okay? So we have le monde réel, right? So I'm just going to label that over here, et le monde virtuel. All right. So I should say réel, actually. Seeing we're live on video. Let's get it right, hey. Le monde réel et le monde virtuel. So we're going to extend these two rays, the reflected rays, because it's not the incident rays we're actually extending, it's the reflection. That's what's important to us. After all, we are making a ray diagram. We're trying to show the image of what's in the mirror. So it's the reflection that's important here. So maybe you could just circle your reflected rays, and that way you can't fool it up. All right, I'm going to do that for myself. Now I'm going to use a different color just so it might be a little easier to see, hopefully. So I'm going to extend this reflected ray. It's going to be much along those dotted lines I already made, well, at least for this one here, because it's going to go back towards the foyer for this first one I'm doing. So I'm going to extend this with just some lines, okay? Doesn't matter how long you make it. I always like to make these reflected rays nice and long, and that way there's no chance of fooling it up. You're going to get a convergence somewhere, right? Okay, so there we go. That's the first one done. That's just the extension of the reflected rays. All right, so it's un rayon prolongé, we'll say in French. The next one is right here. We have ours circled, the other one circled. And I'm just going to take my ruler and put it level there, parallel with that one I had made. And I'm going to extend that, okay? I want to make sure I get this nice and parallel again for this video. So I'm going to use the bottom of the ruler. I always use the bottom because it's easier to actually see where your ruler is going. Okay, so let's put that there. And we're going to extend this one much the same as we did the first. So just with a broken line. Okay, all right, so that's far enough. We can clearly see we have convergence right here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the purple color. We're going to draw our little stick figure exactly where this converged. So the light came from the top of our stick figure, and so the convergence represents where that light came from. So that there is showing you where this part of our object actually is. So there's our convergence. We're just going to draw a little head right there. And much the same, if you're standing on the floor and looking in a mirror, when you look in the mirror, your image is also standing on the floor. So the feet are touching or almost touching our axe principal. It's going to be the same thing here. This one is not upside down. And there you go. It's a little tiny stick person. Okay, so that's the image. Now we do have to classify this or just describe it. So for the immersion students, we have our teapot. This is explained in video 1. And of course, if you're in English, you can just sub out that T with an S. It's spot. So teapot and spot, both really good acronyms here. All right, so taille or size. This one here, of course, is plus petite. I'm just going to say l'image. And we're going to say plus petite or smaller. And we have position. This one here is slightly closer to the mirror than our object, so we can say that. plus proche. All right. We could also say that it's closer to the mirror than the actual focal point, or le foyer. So we could say plus proche que le foyer, or the focal point. Might be one way to do it. And we have orientation. So this one is right side up. So we have the choice of à l'envers ou à l'endroit. Of course, this one here is à l'endroit. Right side up. And the last one is type. So we have le monde réel ou le monde virtuel. This one, of course, is in the virtual. We're describing the image. Virtuel. All right. Virtuel. All right, so that's it. So we have two parts. We made our rays. They didn't converge, so we had to extend the reflected rays. We draw our image where they do converge, those prolonged rays or extended rays, and then we describe our image. All right, thank you.